Hello, my name's Kelly, and I channel my spirit guides, Jocelyn and Rosalind, who've identified with being on a fifth dimensional planet called Siru. They were me in a past life, and I asked them questions about stuff that's coming up for me because I identify as a light worker, and that means that I work on my light body, and they give me advice because I am tapping into their field through my light body, and I can talk to them myself in a past lifetime in the future on another non-physical planet. It's all in my imagination, doesn't matter. I talk to myself. Anyway, the last video I made was about women taking their power back, and it was very powerful to me. I felt like it activated me. I'm going through an activation because of someone else, and I want more, their final word on that, or help me like process that. I don't think this is part 4, but this is like, what's the next step for me to integrate that sort of level? Because I've been working on my health, and they're saying like working on your health is important, but it's not the goal. The goal is to recognize how reality is manifesting continuously, and how I'm contributing to that manifestation from my perspective, and how can I shift the mental response to what I'm seeing so that I manifest eventually heaven on earth. And even though the goal is heaven on earth, the physical is an illusion. So it's a huge paradox, and it's complex, and they do their best to tell stories about how to understand what 5D quantum reality is, and that's where heaven is. It's in a consciousness shift. So follow up, please, Rosalind and Jocelyn, follow up on your last video. Thank you, Kelly. So coffee has really been a big theme for you. And for some reason right now, it's like your best friend again, even though you did step away for a little bit. But you're also noticing that as much as you want to wake up with it, it's causing you to be triggerable with your kids, right? You just get kind of like irritable, and you know it's because you have this caffeine upon waking. So you really want to know what's the next step. You've been given this video about becoming unfuckwithable is really calling you out, isn't it? It's calling you out on what you still have to work on. You're like, okay, here we go again. I just got over the dark night of the soul, and I just went through everything, and I've been taking it easy with building my light body up, and now I'm starting to feel better. But I can feel that the light body expansion push is coming. So I kind of am asking for a map about the next chapter of expansion, because I feel like becoming unfuckwithable was the end of the last chapter, and now I have another chapter open. So, well, now, Kelly, you're gonna bring in your soul tribe. So when you make these videos that are very definitive about who you are, you're gonna cut ties with people. And it's not going to look the way you think it's going to look, right? Who you used to judge as friendship material was one way, and then the more you grow, as you say that you're doing, and you're witnessing in these videos, you're witnessing your own growth, then you step onto some new desires, okay? And as you grow, your desires change. Well, your friendship qualifications are going to change too. And with that video, you're basically saying, this is my line in the sand. If you're interested in taking accountability for how you're contributing to your own manifestation, let's hang out. But if you're not willing to admit that you're contributing to all of your relationships and all of your resources and ability to receive and how to give and balance, If you're not interested in that, then that's okay. That's okay with me. That's okay. I don't need to be friends with everybody. I need to be friends with the people who are going to be honest, give me productive, honest feedback, and encourage me. That's it. So what your next step is to start with your mind, becoming aware of who you're inviting in as your soul tribe. You figure out who your soul tribe looks like in your mind, in your imagination, and you'll be able to identify who that is, because it might not be who you think it's going to be. From your old perspective, you're transitioning into a new perspective, so definitions are changing. You used to identify with people who look like they got their shit together, and now you're like, that's not necessarily who I want to be friends with anymore, because actually truth requires getting messy. So you look at the people who might be a little bit messy and you're like, but are they really living their truth? That would justify being a little messy. So do you see, Kelly, the carrot that you were chasing? We were like, okay, you want a living room that looks like a magazine cover? That's what you think is the highest possible expression of life? Okay, go chase it. Go chase that. You fucking chased that for a year. I was like, I just want to be able to clean my house, but I want to do it authentically. I don't want to do it cutting corners. I don't want to lie to do it. I just want to have that beautiful living room easily and naturally, and and so I tried. I'm like, okay, getting this living room clean is going to require getting these kids to do chores, and I just can't figure out how to do that. Never. So I guess I have to love myself, even though I can't figure out how to get these kids to do chores. I think I'm figuring it out now. I think I'm figuring out how to get my kids to do chores. I gotta take no shit from them. I just gotta take no shit from them. And I just was never ready to do that. I was just like, I don't want to deal with your temper tantrums. Go ahead, go do it. I don't want to deal with your temper tantrums. At least do this first and then you can go do your thing. I don't want to deal with their temper tantrums, so I will give up a lot to avoid dealing with their temper tantrums. So I wasn't having good boundaries. Now that I'm like boundary, I'm like, okay, I gotta have boundaries with the kids. It's gonna be hard, but there's no way around it. You're gonna be miserable if you don't, Kel. And now I'm unfuckwithable, so I'm like, okay, let's bring it to the kids. The adults are easy. The kids are harder. It's a different dynamic. It's a power dynamic. You got to be humble and you got to be accountable. It's like your kids really reflect back to you your authenticity, and are you living up to your potential? Your kids are going to show you better than anyone. So I'm really, really determined to have a chore chart now. I've hated the idea of chore charts because it's just so much to maintain. Like, I got to go do stickers. I got to really change it every month. I got to whatever. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do the chore chart. And but I'm going to take their phones away if they don't do their chores. I need an accountability person to help me take their phones away. So, Kelly, all right, do you see where this is going? You're stepping into authenticity. You don't care what you look like anymore. And you're just going to navigate your relationships, your internal dialogue, with the goal of healing and bringing in peace. Whatever it takes to bring in peace, that's it. I don't care about anything else. I don't care. I was close to homeless. I've been through everything. I have nothing to be scared of anymore. Nothing to be scared of anymore. I just want peace. So that's what we want this video to show. It's 9 minutes. We want to show the growth that comes from this, and the insight that comes from that growth is that as you become insightful about yourself, because you go in an inward journey where you hermit and you feel without anybody else looking and judging your process. It gets so quiet in the cave of your mind that you start imagining wisdom, voices of wisdom. If you're quiet and alone enough, you'll start hearing these echoes of wisdom. I don't know where it comes from, but I guess that's the recipe. You just got to be alone enough to hear your higher wisdom. Because when it's quiet and you don't have everybody telling you what they think, you can go, well, what would I choose? if I was going to choose my own personal version of wisdom, what would it be? And you'd go back and you just by yourself, you get to make believe. Well, I heard Freud and Jung talk and they disagree, but I kind of agree with Jung. Okay, no, Freud, you don't really resonate with me, but Jung, yes. And you go through your life without having anyone else tell you what you should decide. You decide all over again what your preference would have been if you had the autonomy to choose in that moment with that variety of life offered to you. Go back and choose what you would choose. What was your first spark of thought when you read that historical article that taught you about the Native Americans or whatever? You had your own personal opinion in response to it. But then your teacher's like, this is what it meant. Write an essay. And you're like, oh, that's what it meant. Oh, I was wrong. You weren't wrong. You were right. But you were convinced to be wrong and take on someone else's belief for a while. But that's on top of your truth. Your truth is underneath all that stuff. So you got to go back and you got to clean up. So all this cleaning up you're doing of